Welcome, everybody. Very good to see you all. I see a lot of different faces. A lot of them I know. I'm Corine van der Burgt. I'm president from ENSIE, and I wish you all a warm welcome in this morning, in a special morning, because it's one of the first events in the framework of the 20th anniversary of ENSIE. It is a webinar about circular economy, and in the afternoon we have a general assembly. So I think for the people of JustGreen, the partners of JustGreen, I wish you a very warm welcome. It's your webinar, and I think you all know by now that you can have the translation I just mentioned in 5 different languages, so you can choose. We have a lot of people who tuned in from the ENSIE partners, but also from JustGreen partners and other people from the Commission and other people who are interested in this subject. It's a really interesting subject. It's about the circular economy and the social economy and how to combine it. But Patricia will moderate this morning and tell us all about it, and of course the partners of JustGreen. So we can see you as everybody. What are you asking? We can see you, is it right? Or we have a technical problem? You can't see me? Okay.
I can perfectly, so I guess someone is having problems.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, okay. So I will give the word to Patricia, and I'm really looking forward to this interesting morning. Wish you all a good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Corina, our president, and thank you everybody for being here. I will thank you, and I thank you also the partner, as I already said, and I will go directly to the other introducing person that will welcome us from the JustGreen project, Mr. Augusto Lima, City Council in the area of economy, internationalization, and integrated local development of Famalicão. Famalicão is, I discover, a tourist destination in the northern of Portugal, and he will represent here the JustGreen project. The JustGreen project, it's a project that supports the green transition of social economy organization in order to develop a strategy for create a bridge between a social economy and circular economy, and also to promote the decarbonization of social economy, to foster short food supply chains and agroecology. And the project is for sure in the framework of social economy, but has also a particular focus on work integration social enterprise. So I let Mr. Antonio to the floor. Augusto, the floor.
Hi, good morning. Good morning and bom dia, good morning. Thank you. I share my presentation. 1 minute. You can see? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be in this seminar and have this opportunity for networking. First of all, congratulations to ENSIE for the 20th anniversary. I'm Augusto Lima from Vila Nova de Famalicão, City Hall from Portugal, where I am a city councillor in these areas of economy, internationalization, and integrated local development. I'm representing JustGreen project, challenged by the European Commission through the collaboration of the executive agencies for a small and medium-sized enterprise. JustGreen aims to support the green transition of social economy organizations. It fosters social entrepreneurship by targeting unmet social needs and by work integration of vulnerable groups so that nobody is left behind. So JustGreen project is about boosting social economy into a greener and fairer economy and society. These projects recognize the social economy potential and work integration social enterprise, potential to foster a transition that is not only environment and economic sustainably, but also just a social fair. To achieve and support the green transition of social economy organizations, JustGreen project promotes cooperation partnership by networking and strategic thinking on key topics and facilitating project planning and European interregional consortia cooperation. JustGreen is a partnership project coordinated by the municipality of Vila Nova de Famalicão from Portugal that gathers for more partners. 3 of them are municipalities as well as Famalicão. Comune di Moso from Italy, Gmina Świętosz of Wise from Poland, and Budapest Teresváros from Hungary. The other partners is the European Network, ENSIE, European Network of Social Integration Enterprise. Each of these partners invite a group of stakeholders from their countries that will be active participants in project activities. So through this establishment of social network methodologies and practice exchange, JustGreen projects encourage all its partners to mutual learning and to develop new ideas to pursue social goals. Together, we will work essential on 3 key topics.
Razem będziemy pracowali na 3 bardzo
Circular
kluczowych.
economy within the social economy organizations, promoting decarbonisation of the social economy activities,
społecznej
and
aktywności.
we work to develop
Będziemy też pracować
food supply chain and agroecology within the social economy. At the end of the project, in January of 2022, we will be able to develop new political guidelines to promote the green transition of the social economy and to create political recommendations on the role of regional local policies to enhance the social economy transition into a greener ecosystem, considering at the same time the integration of vulnerable groups as a transversal goal. After this project, we hope that maybe new consortium of European inter-regional stakeholders can emerge to develop joint projects that implement the knowledge and the strategies we will develop. During this week, it's happening the first of the 3 workshops. This first workshop was supposed to happen in Famalicão, but unfortunately, because of COVID-19 is online. We hope next workshops can happen in person in Poland around September and Italy in November. It will also happen 3 working groups, about 6 online sessions about circular economy, decarbonisation, short food supply chains, and dissemination activities. About the outputs, these projects have already developed 1 methodological guidelines for mutual learning and networking. We are exchanging information about the 21 good practices of different countries. We will also develop 4 newsletters, 3 concept notes for future projects, and some guidelines for local and regional policy on a just green transition. We will continue to work in this project, and we hope to make great contributions for a greener and fairer transition. I wish you a good time of work and learning and lots of success for everyone and for ENSIE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lima, and thank you for the presentation of the project. So you have all clear the JustGreen project that is organizing with us this webinar. And now I will pass the floor to Andrea Barbosa. Andrea is an expert of circular economy. She is in fact working as manager at the Circular Economy Portugal Association, and I have discovered she also works for MS, the International Research Network, which is a partner of ENSIE in many activity, as a podcaster. And she will let us know more about circular economy, the European vision on circular economy. So Andrea, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So as has been introduced, I'm with Circular Economy Portugal. This is a young association that we founded a few years ago. And together also with A3S, we are developing some ideas to, let's say, use as a basis of work within the JustGreen project, and specifically the circular economy projects that may emerge from all of this networking that is happening now. So I will share my screen and hopefully give you well, a little guided tour on the concept and strategies of circular economy and their applications. So I chose to stress this social circular economy because circular economy in itself is often seen as a kind of a technical concept, and it's a pity to deprive it of its social benefits, and also
però senza I suoi benefici.
Very important and urgent social goals. So the whole concept of circular economy is kind of a lens to look at reality. And one of the things the concept looks at is resource extraction and how it has evolved throughout the years. So it's amazing once we look back on the last decades, how much our resource extraction has increased. So it's very visible how exponential this growth is. And we're talking about, of course, mining activities, but this also includes agriculture. We just need more and more stuff to take on our economic activities. And
potrzebujemy więcej osób, żeby te działalności dalej kontynuować, żeby zmniejszać emisję dwutlenku węgla. I to jest spowodowane, dzieją się daleko od naszych zakładów, więc z drugiej strony trzeba też podkreślić, że idziemy w kierunku zwiększenia tego wyciągania resursów, ponieważ rośnie ilość ludzi, ale też oczekiwania materialne i stylu życia społeczeństwa też coraz więcej wymaga, więcej jest potrzeb materialnych. W jaki sposób możemy to odwrócić jako populacja?
The stuff that we need as a society. Oh, for some reason, oh yeah, the right part of the screen was not presented. So the other thing we look at in circular economy is consumption. So we extract resources or we grow them, and then there's the whole production and consumption activities. And what we can see is that the cycles are becoming faster and new needs are also emerging. So this example on your left is about electronics equipment, and we all know
Dei dispositivi elettrici.
És egyre jobban
egyre rövidsze, ciągle potrzebujemy.
Que duram cada vez menos tempo, aos processos reciclados longtemps, et ça renvoie.
That sometimes is built in the equipments we buy, which of course it's an advantage for the manufacturer, which can then put new products on the market and increase profits, but it's also perceived obsolescence. It's just because technology evolves very quickly and you want a newer model that can make better images or has better quality or more storing space. On the other hand, the example here on your right, it's about the manufacturing of wind turbines. So we all know that these infrastructures such as wind turbines or photovoltaic panels or batteries, these are necessary for the energy transition that we've been talking about for so long, and it is so fundamental to tackle climate change because of greenhouse gases emissions. But these infrastructures, they also need materials, and they are definitely demanding a lot also on the raw material market at the moment. And that's why it is so important to consider how they are produced, how much recycled material can also go into the production of these vital new infrastructures. So we are kind of trapped because we have these new needs and we need to find the materials to build them. So, and the third vector here with circular economy is the other end of the production cycle: extraction, production and consumption, and then in the end, waste and pollution. In a linear economy, you have a lot of this. You process resources, and in the end, they end up being disposed of and generating waste and pollution. So I brought this example, which struck me just a few days ago. We had news of this snot, with a kind of mucus on the water, which was around the coast of Turkey. So actually, this is provoked by discharges of organic materials, of nutrients on the waters. This is an effect of industrial agriculture that uses fertilizers such as nitrogen and phosphorus, and these end up going into the water and finishing in the end in the sea. And well, this combined with other factors such as temperature increase, this creates this phenomena because algae grows very fast because of these extra nutrients on the water, and this disrupts marine ecosystems. So just one example of the other end of the linear economy. And so in the end, once we make this diagnosis, we understand that this is just not sustainable. We all know this. And I brought Kenneth Boulding here as, well, an important voice for the development of the concept of circular economy. One can say he is the father of the concept. And he spoke of this idea of a spaceman economy. So in his time, we were coming to the moon for the first time, and were able to look at the Earth from space and realize maybe in a new way that we were just, you know, a planet disconnected from the rest. The planet itself is a sort of spaceship in the sense that nothing comes in and nothing gets out. So this is all we have. And he proposed this idea to look at the economy in a new way, not as the throughput of materials. This is not how we should measure the health, the success of an economy, but we should look at the state of the capital stock. And what he's talking about is natural capital, human capital, so all that is available for humans to satisfy their needs and to produce well-being. So a completely new way of looking at the economy. And this is it, circular economy. So acknowledges that we live in a closed system, and we should treat the economy as such. So it is important, going into more technical details, to acknowledge there are two different cycles of resources. On the one hand, on the left, you have biological materials, so everything that is biodegradable, all the food that we produce, everything that can go back to the soil, to the land, and biodegrade and become nutrient again. So this is one type of cycle, the organic cycle. And then you have the technical materials, those which are not renewable, such as plastics or metals, that you can also recycle, or, you know, using different strategies, keep in the economy, but these cycles should be kept separate. These two types of resources, they don't mix well, and in order to reuse them as much as possible, they should be kept separate. And to do this, there are 5 major strategies, let's say, that you see on the right, and that I will explain a little bit, and with examples show you how this can be done in practice. So first of all, there's this idea to rethink the whole way we do things, and this is about urban planning, how we think infrastructure, how we think logistics, products and services. And the whole idea is that when you design all of these things, you should integrate this idea of a life cycle, preparing these services, these products, these structures to be able to let circular economy happen. So just an example. Oh, again, this shampoo didn't show up. So there are these basic principles. If we think of flows, of cycles, we should close them, first of all. So enable recycling, remanufacture, upcycling. We should slow down the flow. So in order for things to last longer in the economy, so this means that things should be repairable, we should be able to share them, and also reduce the material flows. This is about efficiency. So get a maximal utility with minimum resources. So actually this solid shampoo is an example of reduced material flows. If you have a solid shampoo, that means you don't need a container, so you don't need packaging because you can just have the shampoo, and you also don't need water because you will mix the water at home. So you have the same product but with a lot less material footprint because you don't need all that other stuff. And also this helps with transportation because the product is much lighter. Then you have this other example of the other 2 principles with closing material flows, slowing them down. This is a kind of carpet which is done in a modular way. So if it's broken, you can just replace a little patch instead of the whole carpet broken or soiled or something like that. And it's also smart design because it's a kind of a mixed pattern. It lasts longer. If there's something wrong with it, you don't see it immediately. So this is one of the approaches, one of the strategies to create these new ways of doing things. The second one is regeneration, and this has to do with restoring the health of the ecosystems. And here are 2 examples of how you can do it. One is, well, widely known, such as community gardens. You can invest disused land, for instance, and bring people together to create a garden. And a more technical solution on the right, this idea that you can use nature to purify water, for instance. And so you have, let's say, a natural service fulfilling one of the needs that is there to be solved. So this is an interesting water park near Milan. The whole sharing paradigm is also very central to circular economy. So here you can have it. The whole idea is that what you need is access to goods and services. You don't really need to own them. And what does that mean? That means that just with less resources, you can reach more people. More people can use the same resource. Library of things is an example, just like a library of books, but for objects of occasional use, such as camping material or tools. You have the shared bike systems and even new business models such as selling light as a service, which is interesting because let's imagine for a hospital, if you contract this service, you're going to pay for the lights. You're not going to pay for all the equipments, the electrical equipments that are installed for you to have light. You only pay for the service. That means that the provider really has an interest in using durable equipments, in using efficient equipments that are going to produce electricity by consuming less. And the whole paradigm changes because the provider has no interest in selling the equipment, in selling more equipment, I mean. Life cycle extension, this is how can we keep the resources as long as possible in the economy, satisfying our needs. This is through interventions such as repair and refurbish, reuse, and examples of this. We've had this on the JustGreen seminar just yesterday. We had an example of CR, which is a technical school, a professional school, in which they repair electronic equipments as a training activity for students, but also to provide a service for the community. And on the right, you have just the example of the digital second-hand platforms where you can exchange second-hand goods and give them a second life. So the whole idea is to extend the service that these goods are giving to users. In the end, once you've tried everything else before and you really have something that cannot be extended anymore, you can use waste as a resource. And as we know, these two cycles are different. On the left, you have the example of growing mushrooms with coffee grounds. So this is also now a classic. Everyone has heard about this, but it's a really nice idea to use organic leftovers, such as the coffee grounds, to produce something new. And on the right, you have this urban furniture created from mixed plastics. This is the example of a Portuguese company. And again, the idea of, okay, once you can really not use the good as itself, you can use the matter to produce new materials and new products. So after this look at the strategies, I thought it was interesting to see how the EU is handling circular economy. What kind of frameworks are they preparing? What can we expect? So on the one hand, there's the whole legislation about waste. So this is divided in different documents as explained here, but it is important to look a little bit into the future and see that this whole idea of separating the different materials in order to be able to reuse them or recycle them is going to go further. And so in 2025, we will have mandatory separate collection of textiles. So maybe some of you have seen there are these containers in some places, but this is not universal, and it's going to be mandatory starting on January 2025. Same thing for hazardous waste. Bio-waste, this is extremely important. It's also going to happen quite soon as a mandatory system, the separate collection of domestic organic waste. And the plastic bottles, these are also going to be collected separately, mainly through deposit return systems. Okay, so then what is also important to say is that circular economy is much less about waste than other things, than earlier interventions in the economy. And the EU has a circular economy action plan. It has just reached 1 year of existence now, recently, and it is going to continue to be developed. So on the one hand, public procurement, this idea of green circular public procurement is going to be developed. And I'm not going to dwell here a lot because I know this is going to be treated by fellow speakers later. Also, raw materials. We can expect the EU to establish mandatory requirements to use recycled content in new products, and also to, let's say, establish limits on the virgin materials that you can put on the market. So this is very important, because if you can just not put on the market everything you want, so there's going to be a cap on extraction, and that means there has to be a push for recycling, because you need to get the materials somewhere. On the other hand, the eco-design standards, this is also extremely important, that mandatory standards of durability, repairability, recyclability of materials are built in the things that we make. And so this is also an expected development that is going to change the game, we hope, on the way we produce goods and services. And so I'm approaching the end, but I would like to share with you some of the expected developments in specific sectors. So we all say, and we know that the economy needs to become more circular, but where exactly, in which sectors is this going to happen, and how? So these 4 sectors are, let's say, the ones with the most potential to become more circular, and which are also more urgent because they have such a huge footprint. On the one hand, agriculture and bioeconomy. You can expect regenerative agriculture to develop, the use of digital technologies to manage agricultural systems, biorefining, which is making of new materials and chemicals from organic waste of different sources, and anaerobic digestion. This is the production of biogas and fertilizer also from organic waste or manure. In infrastructure and equipments, you can also expect developments. So a lot of obsolete infrastructure is going to have to be disassembled. Well, let's just think of the centrals, the electricity production centrals that are burning coal. These are all sooner or later going to be decommissioned, and their materials can be used for something else. So they can be adapted or reused in a different context. So this is one of the things that is going to happen. Also, repair and refurbishment of all kinds of equipments. This is also a sector that is going to explode, hopefully. In construction, everything is to be made, especially in Portugal. This is a sector with zero circularity, and one can expect developments in different constructive techniques, such as off-site construction. This means that the elements of construction are first done off-site, so you won't have this brick by brick building, but you have modules that then you assemble. You can have a faster construction, but also a kind of construction that can be disassembled much easier later. So thinking about new uses for these materials, the need to change the building, for instance. So housing installation, closed loop cycling of building materials. This means, how can I build using already existing materials in the territory where I am? So this is a kind of approach that is not very common at the moment, but that we may expect becomes more common later. And in textiles, there's also a lot to do. There's ongoing developments about the way you design fibers, how recyclable they are, how you can reuse also new models of clothing such as rental. All of this we can expect to develop in the next years and absorb a lot of work. So this is something that at our organization we are closely looking at to understand also where you can put efforts into developing the necessary skills for human resources to be able to use this opportunity of circular economy. And so in order just to finish here, the social circular economy has to do with the fact that there is an opportunity for reinforcement of both. So on the one hand, if we want to take this the planet crisis seriously and invest in changing the economy, this will create the right context for human resource intensive kind of activities that the social economy is very good at. So the two types of alternative economies that we're talking about here, they can merge together very well. If you are disassembling things or repairing things, these are kinds of activities that can not be done in a, well, they cannot be automatized very easily. They cannot be done in a large industrial scale. This is a more care work, and care work is about human resources. And so this is where the two meet. So in this creation of opportunities to care for the resources and care for people. An example of this, and this is how I end the presentation, is this very interesting project in the Netherlands where this is a social enterprise producing boxers, as you see in the picture, for men. And they do this from used shirts, so that are transformed in a workshop, as you see. But the workforce doing this is, well, vulnerable women, often with a migrant background. They have training opportunities and work opportunities in this social enterprise. And so you can, because you want to create integration opportunities for women, you want to create advancement opportunities, but at the same time, you want to use these resources that would otherwise be wasted, and you can marry both in a project like this. So I think this is a bit of a model for how we should be doing things more in the future. And yes, this is it. Thank you very much for your attention. I will stop sharing now.
Thank you very much, Andrea. It was really very interesting. We already have many people asking for your presentation, so we will be very pleased if you can share with us so we can share to the participants. Thank you very much, first of all. And secondly, thank you for having introduced this social circular economy concept and this link to the social economy and to the work integration social enterprise, because we really think that they are a good way to promote the circular economy, to promote responsible consumption and responsible production. And all the good things you have explained us are possible for the circular economy. And now, for this reason, I will let the floor to Pauline Bonino, that is our communication officer within ENSIE, and she will talk us and explain us a little bit more about our 20th anniversary that in fact is really on these topics. Thank you, Pauline. The floor is yours. You are muted, Pauline. Yes.
Yes, I know I'm muted. I'm looking for my presentation. Okay, so I will try to be short. So I will, first of all, I will present ENSIE for those who don't know. So ENSIE is the European Network of Social Integration Enterprises. It was established in May 2001. This is when we are celebrating this year our 20th anniversary. Our main objective is the representation, maintenance, and development of WISE's networks across Europe and the social inclusion of disadvantaged people. ENSIE is recognized as a key partner by the European Commission in the area of social inclusion and poverty reduction. So who are ENSIE members? We have 27 national, regional and local networks of WISEs from 19 countries, plus Serbia and Moldova, gathering altogether 2,800 WISEs, 225,000 workers, including 190 workers in integration. And as of this afternoon, we will have 2 new members, one from Lithuania and one from Portugal. So this year, to celebrate our 20th anniversary, we are launching a campaign with a new logo, which you can see at the bottom right of the screen. We have a new leaflet, we have a new website, which is online since Monday, so you can check it. The address is the same, www.ensie.org. We are launching the Buy Responsible campaign, on which I will dwell afterwards. And we will be organizing an event on September 21st in Brussels to celebrate WISEs and ENSIE. So why Buy Responsible? Mainly because it's one of the SDGs. So, and SDGs number 12 is about responsible consumption and production. For the UN, responsible consumption and production is about doing more and better with less. It is about also decoupling economic growth with environmental degradation, increasing resource efficiency, and promoting sustainable lifestyles. It is at the core of the transition toward low carbon and green economies. And why these are indeed responsible producers. In our studies, such as the Impact-Wise study, we realize that around 20% of WISEs are active in the recycling, reusing, and repair sectors. This is confirmed by the ENSIE WISEs database. And WISEs are also responsible producers in agriculture, as around 17% of WISEs are active in the agricultural sector. And when WISEs are active in this sector, they are often organic farms working at a small scale, trying to respect the cycle of plants, to not use chemicals, to work with local varieties, and most importantly, to distribute their production directly to consumers. So they have a positive impact on the preservation of biodiversity and the environment. There are also WISEs working in other sectors which are responsible producers, such as the one working with short supply chains. It could be food supply chains or not. Some of them are working with decarbonisation in a wider sense. Some of them are catering food from recycling and food waste from supermarkets or restaurants. So WISEs can provide goods and services which are responsibly produced from a social and an environmental perspective. And they have now to find their responsible consumers that can buy responsible. Those consumers can be, well, the general public consumers. So this is for business to consumer. They could be public authorities through public procurement, or they can be companies. For this campaign, we will focus on the two first publics. I will do a short presentation on public procurement. So in the latest publication of the European Commission, Buying Social, a guide to taking into account social considerations in public procurement, this is a very important guide which which is in the continuity of the 2014 directive. So it says that in EU Public Procurement Directive, there is a scope to promote social inclusion by reserving contracts for work integration social enterprises and economic operators, which employ at least 30% of disabled or disadvantaged workers. That is to say that there is a possibility to reserve some markets for work integration social enterprises. And there are some good practices. We will see some of them later on with the SF presentation and with Yana presentation also. But they need to be scaled up and to be more acknowledged by the public authorities. And we are trying to work on this, and we created a reserved contract database. You can find it on our website. So for this, we are looking for reserved contracts with preferably a value over 200,000 euros. So if you know some, please send them to us, because we are really trying to raise awareness on this issue. So now that we established that WISEs are responsible producers and they are looking for a responsible consumer, the question is how to link both of them, and mainly through EU policies. At the moment, social economy is quite often quoted in EU green policies, so the Green Deal and its follow-up policies, such as the Circular Economy Action Plan, which Andrea talked about before, or the Strong Social Europe for Just Transition publication also. But it's quite often just that. The role of social economy as a pioneer in circular economy and in green policies in general is recognized, but there is no specific measures taken towards social economy organization. This is why with our campaign, we want to raise awareness on this so they can be better included in the future policies and in the future funding opportunities. This is important because in the next few months and years, there will be new policies which will concern social economy and green circular economy. The first one, and I think the most important one, is the Social Economy Action Plan, which should be out in October this year. And we really hope this action plan will create a link and synergies between social economy and circular economy. This will be clearer and more explicit, just not a quote about the role of social economy. And of course, there will be some follow-up of the Social Economy Action Plan. So we are waiting also on those follow-up. Concerning circular economy, there are two main policies this year, which will be published: the Sustainable Product Policy Initiative and the EU Strategy for Sustainable Textiles. Again, WISEs are often working in circular economy, so we hope, and we are working on making sure that they will be acknowledged in those two policies. And finally, the Public Procurement Directive, which should be renewed in a few years. The issue is not that the directive takes into account social enterprises. It's mainly that it is widely known, and the awareness is raised to member states to implement the proposals. So this leads us to our key messages. So the Social Economy Action Plan should reinforce the link between green and social policies and between circular and social economy. The EU funding opportunities should take into account WISEs and the social economy sector specificities and needs. And more pedagogy should be made around the next Public Procurement Directive to raise awareness around social clauses and reserve contracts. And most important of all, everyone can be an actor. If you buy from a WISE, you can buy responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. I will now thank you for the presentation of our campaign. And now we go in our two different small parts, one concerning responsible consumption and the other more concerning how to work with the local level and also how to make local authority more responsible. For the first part concerning responsible consumption, I'm very pleased to welcome Charlie Wigglesworth, that is Deputy Chief at Social Enterprise UK, and that is managing all the business activity of Social Enterprise UK, and is really an expert of what concern the creation and delivery of their bi-social directory and bi-social corporate challenge. So, Charlie, thank you for being here with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Patricia, and well done with my surname. It's not an easy one. Yeah, thank you for having me on today. I've been asked to talk really about our bi-social campaign, why we started the campaign, and then to talk in a bit more detail about particularly the consumer-facing element of that. So how are we looking to engage consumers around bi-social, and how are we using bi-social as a way to promote our members and promote social enterprises as a way or as a route to responsible consumption and all of the topics that have come up today. Bisocial was something that Social Enterprise UK created, so the term and the campaign back in 2012. It was originally created as a campaign to encourage social enterprises to buy from each other. It was about solidarity and getting social enterprises to buy from each other. But we had an incredible reaction to it as not just a campaign, but as a message. And this idea of how important it is for all social enterprises, for all social businesses to grow market awareness in the markets that they operate in. So now, nearly 10 years later, the Bisocial campaign for us operates across all the markets that Paulina was just talking about. So we do a lot of work on public procurement. That's principally led through our policy team and policy work, and we've had legislation passed here in the UK prior to the 2014 EU directive promoting social, economic and environmental responsibility around procurement. As Patricia mentioned, we also do a lot of work with big businesses on getting them to buy more from social enterprises through the Bisocial Corporate Challenge. And that work is largely led through direct work with them. So we actually help them directly to find social enterprises and to buy from them. And then the third pillar, the one I'm going to focus on today, is about consumers. And how we encourage them to see how buying from social enterprises is better for the planet, for people and for themselves. I suppose to start off with, kind of why is an overarching campaign for that so important? And I haven't got slides today, I'm afraid, but I have got some props because I'm in the office. So to talk through kind of 3 different products that we have here amongst our members. Here's 3 different things. One is a water company that donates its profits to WaterAid, so it's about global reduction or access to water. One is a coffee brand that employs people who are ex-homeless or at risk of homelessness, so more a work integration style business. And one produces female sanitary products, and for every one bought in the UK, they donate one to people in Africa or women that can't have access to sanitary products. So 3 completely different products, 3 products with different messages, with different social impacts through what they do. And if you look at consumer behaviour, consumers normally make a decision on what they buy in about 2 seconds. So you've got 2 seconds to get across all of that story, or all of that story, or all of that story. And for us as Social Enterprise UK, we're trying to tell the story of all of these brands, and they're all doing very different things, and they're doing it in different markets. And that's before you get to cafes or restaurants or you know, bicycle hire shops or anything else that consumers might buy. So for us, the starting point was we need to have a unifying brand, a brand that can be used by our members, that consumers will see across all of these products. And this is the brand. This is the Bisocial brand that we created in 2012. We have a global trademark on that brand. We've now licensed that brand into 8 countries. We have a free license for any country that wants to use the brand in their own market. You can sign a license agreement. It's completely free, and you can use that license in your country to promote that brand. And really what we're trying to do is to encourage both products to put that brand on their packaging. This is very small, I'm sorry, but there is a Bisocial brand on the corner of all of these packaging. And we're driving brand awareness through campaigns that we coordinate centrally. So we've run for a number of years something called Social Saturday, which takes place during Global Entrepreneurship Week in November. That campaign reached 7 million people last year. We run a number of press activities. We do a lot around promoting our members through that work. We run events locally. We've run events internationally. We had events in New Zealand and Canada and other countries last year, all to drive awareness around the brand centrally, and the brand is really important to that. We also run a Christmas campaign, so we have a Christmas catalogue. I can send these links through to Pauline and Patricia, so these can be shared afterwards. But we run a campaign that's directly encouraging social enterprises to be found and bought from by consumers, and we can use our networks to help to promote those more widely. So that's kind of direct engagement, but all around promoting this brand as a singular way of not just a call to action or a campaign, but also a visual identifier, so that a consumer may not make the link between this and a cafe. But if they see the brand, they'll start to see that these are all businesses that are operating in a responsible way, in a socially responsible way, in an environmentally responsible way, and we can grow awareness of that. The final thing or part of the jigsaw I wanted to mention is that a big thing for us has been around how do we make it easier for consumers to find social enterprises and buy from them. In my introduction, Patricia mentioned the Buy Social directory, which is a resource that we have. To be honest, for us, the big ambition has been actually, we want to be doing this where people are already buying. It's very, very difficult to create a directory for consumers and both grow access to that platform and grow the supplier base in a way that will drive kind of real increases in consumption. One of the things that we've had an ambition for a long time is around how do we work with some of the big marketplaces that are already out there. And we're delighted that this year we've just launched 2 months ago a partnership with eBay. At the moment it's eBay UK only, but eBay are interested in how they expand that internationally. That has now a specific marketplace for social enterprises. So all of the products that you see here and hundreds of others have their own area within eBay. eBay can push that through their channels. They will reach far more people and far more consumers than we will, and it's a place where people are already shopping. And as I say, there's an ambition around how we globalize that program as well. We're working with the World Fair Trade Organization on that have a global presence. So lots of opportunities to grow that, because as well as the brand, we also need to make it easier for consumers to find and buy these products, because otherwise it won't happen. So thank you very much for having me along today. Apologies for the lack of slides. Hopefully the props were useful, and yeah, I'll send through a few links afterwards, and thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you, Charlie. I think your product talk us also as can do your presentation, so don't worry. And I have to inform all the people that unfortunately Charlie should leave us for another meeting. So if you have any question, for him, I will let you 5 minutes now. If not, the Q&A session is foreseen more at the end of the working timing. So if anyone, so I already see Corinne. Corinne, you can intervene, or I read. What is your key? Okay, go.
Yeah.
Please.
What do you think, Charlie, is yeah, kind of a key message, how we can combine those two, well, social and circular economy? I mean, your campaign is really successful and very good, but did you think about the combine factor? You understand what I mean?
Yes, the difficulty we have sometimes is, as I said, with the kind of variety of our members, that some of them are not particularly active in the circular economy, but some are very active. So the examples from the previous presentation about the recycling reuse type enterprises, there are a lot of those in the social enterprise sector in the UK. I think a key thing for us is how we seek to like you say, kind of combine those messages where we can. We don't want there to be kind of circular economy over here and then social enterprise over here. We have to show that you can do both. And an important aspect for us, even on the products that are talking, so if you're a coffee company that employs ex-homeless people, you will talk about the homelessness piece, that's your hook. But actually the packaging for this is best in class in terms of circular economy. You know, there's lots of things that they can also evidence about how they're very strong on the environmental side as well. And so an important thing for us is how we help them to get that message across as well.
Yeah, so it's about getting the message across, but did you also organize events or things, meetings about how you can inspire your members, you know, to combine those two things? Because I'm aware that a lot of WISEs in the socioeconomy, they are aware, of course, but they don't have pinpoint the circular economy on their project, on their products yet.
We're doing more on that now. We haven't done much previously, to be honest. I think the real focus for us with Bisocial has been how do we grow the market for social enterprises. We're really focused on that. And we know that our members are doing a lot of good things around social and environmental and local economy areas. I think increasingly now we're starting to think about, yeah, it's good, but it could be better across a number of areas. Circular economy is one, diversity and inclusion is another, where they're much better than the average business. We've got the evidence to show that, but there's still more, right? And so how do we equip them with both the tools, but also the knowledge, as you say, to be able to do that better?
Thank you.
Thank you. And there is, if you can, Charlie, still 1 minute, there is another question for you. Yolina, do you want to intervene yourself?
Yeah, okay, thanks. No, I think it's very interesting, Charlie, because we at Founders, we are struggling with the same challenge. How can we break through the niche of only targeting conscious consumers and really target everyone? So I was wondering, could you measure a positive impact on the sales revenues of the individual members with the brand? Is there some way you measured it? Or?
Yeah, so not directly through everything, but there are two things we have done. One is we can measure a spike in sales on the back of particular campaigns. So we know that when we run the Christmas campaign or when we run the Social Saturday campaign, members see an increase in sales over that period. We don't think yet that the Bisocial brand is driving sales itself, but if you don't have the brand, we can't grow the awareness. There's a bit of balance there around how we do it. We would like to have better tracking through the directory and so on. We know from the eBay platform that's already seen a big increase in sales. So yes, not across everything, but across specific elements of what we do, we can do that quite effectively, and that helps to get the engagement of people to want to put it on their packaging and things like that, which is quite an expensive thing to do. You know, you have to change your printing and so on. So yeah.
And do you always work in campaigns, or is it always also an always-on campaign where you communicate?
Yeah, no, it's both, of course. Okay. So we do a lot around. If you look at our communications, our social media, and so on, there's always things going on. It's we're doing some work on our members that work with refugees at the moment, and that will mention Bisocial and how you can engage. It's a core message for us all the time, but we have certain peaks where we will try and focus activity because that helps with media and with getting a wider push. Okay, thank you.
And Charlie, very last question, but it's from the Commission, because we have with us also Julienne Debaise, that is from DG Employment in the Commission. I don't know, Julienne, if you want to intervene yourself or I read it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Go on, Julienne.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So very quickly, Charlie, yes, indeed, it's you try to make the market grow for social enterprise that are also active in circular economy. But I guess that one way to do that is also to establish partnership with standard companies, which are not social enterprise, in order to be in their value chains and to have more market opportunities. Is it possible to do that? What are the difficulties for you to do that? Just for the sake of curiosity.
Yes, no, we do a lot of work on that. So I've not focused on it today because I was asked to speak mainly on our consumer work. But we have an entire program, the Bisocial Corporate Challenge, which is all about businesses' supply chains. We have 26 big global businesses as part of that. We've helped them spend 150 million pounds directly with social enterprises in the last 5 years. So we are directly helping them to drive that work and do more of it. And it's a key part of how we work, both in terms of direct value chain, but also how we can use platforms like the eBay piece as well. And there's real opportunities in that space at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie. So we have already next topics for next meeting. We will go more in deeper on this. So very thanks.
Thank you. I'm sorry I have to go early, but yeah, I will send a few links and details through, but very nice to speak to you all, and thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you and bye.
Bye-bye.
And I'm pleased now to introduce Jolien, that I've already, talked with the question. Jolien Rodolph, I think. I hope I'm correct in the pronunciation. And she's working as a business developer of the social circular entrepreneurship, if I translate it correctly from Flemish, at Irvine. Irvine is one of ENSIE member, established in Flanders, and they really focus in this last period on circular economy and how to promote the circular economy within our sector. So Jolien, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, for the introduction and for inviting me. I hope you can all see my screen. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you for the invitation. I will just talk a bit about my experience on how we at Herwin are really working hard and trying to remove the thresholds for our social entrepreneurs to also jump on the circle train in Flanders. Because just as the presentations we saw before this, yeah, we at Herwin, we really believe in the link between social entrepreneurship and circular entrepreneurship. Because we see already it's automatically there as social entrepreneurs at Herwin. They already have a lot of circular activities, and we see that there's a lot of potential in this field also. And now we try to actively stimulate them and to guide them in the same direction. And I will just talk through about how we are doing this today. I would like to add a disclaimer that it's really work in progress. So we are trying a lot of things, and now it's becoming clear what is working, what not. And so I will share a couple of lessons about what we already learned. And so I'm always open for feedback, or if you have remarks or tips and tricks. But so yeah, Herwin, who is Herwin? That's not a person, but it's actually a collective of social circular entrepreneurs. So we work in Flanders. We have 10 ambitions. I will show them later on because it's important to have a strategy. We have around 100 members, and we represent 10,000 employees. And I think the most important of this slide is actually the two pictures at the right side. It's in Dutch, I'm sorry, but the right one, it's the person. It's about regaining talents. It's one of our strategic points. Is we want to regain talent in Flanders. So it's about inclusive employership. It's about giving jobs to people who otherwise maybe would not have a job. It's about development of talent. So it's really the social part of the entrepreneurship. And what happened some years ago? I think it's 2 years ago. We became Herwin, and we chose to add a second strategic goal to our collective. And it's the regaining of material. It's the left side. It's because we saw that a lot of our members, they already work in the circular sector. because there's a big link between these two. And so we actively chose as Herwin to put regaining of material, the circular economy, in the core of our strategy and in the core of our organization. And so I put this disclaimer below because it's a challenge also for us to take our members with us in this circular evolution, because we see the regaining of talents is their core business. It's why we are all here. We want an inclusive society. We know why it's important. So we do it automatically. It's the reason of being of our members. But the regaining of material, the circular economy, it's really work in progress, and it's a trajectory that we are running through now. And I will just take you through this trajectory, because I think it can be inspiring also for other federations how to handle this, how to tackle this, because it's a huge challenge, circular economy. And so I think also the choice to have someone for business development is a bit a step in this direction, in the development of the second strategic action point. And so that's why we have someone in business development. And what does this person do? It's me. I see my biggest role in Ambition 8 and Ambition 10. So these are the 10 ambitions of Herwin. I will not go through them all. But I think number 8 is about reinforcing business, reinforcing entrepreneurship. It's a bit also the story about the biosocial trademark. Okay, how can we help our members to reinforce their impact? And below 8, I see a big potential win for circular economy, because if you want to do sustainable business development, if you want to develop new projects which are still relevant within 10, 20 years, they should be circular. And ambition number 10 is about members side to side. It's about, okay, how can we connect members to each other? How can we stimulate cooperation across their organizational activities? And because we see also that circular economy, if you want to do it well, you need partnerships within the value chain. You need someone to collect the material, you need someone to prepare the material, you need someone to sell the material. So we need different partners. And we see that, okay, that's a huge opportunity for collaboration. And so that's why we really chose to also put circular economy in the core of our business, because we need it for this Ambition 8 and Ambition 10. So I think it was 1.5 years ago, I was a brand new business developer. I was passionate about circular economy. And I was struggling with the challenge, okay, how now to reinforce our members, to stimulate them, to start up new cool circular projects, and to give them a go with the circular economy concept and explain to them what it is. And so I started working, and my first idea as a knowledge worker, and I think sometimes we all fall into this pitfall, was, okay, I just need to make a big paper where I put all the information I found. I have some theoretical models. I will put some examples from these theoretical models. I will then load this up into our member platform website. It's the left one. It's actually just a SharePoint. And I made a nice folder, circular business models, with all kinds of information that is necessary to start. And I put a link in our newsletter, and I thought, okay, nice. Now they can start working on circular economy. Obviously, that was not working. It was part of the trajectory, but it was not the whole of the trajectory. And I saw, okay, I don't see many people clicking on the link to this folder. Okay, I think I need a new approach. And so that's why we sat together with some team members, and we decided, okay, if we want to have circular economy embraced into our social sector with our members, we need to start with identifying the thresholds. What is difficult for them today? Why are they not circular already yet? And how can we stimulate them to go over these thresholds? And so step by step, we identified some thresholds. I went to visit a lot of members. I talked to them, identified challenges, and I think that's already a big tip that I can give you is go out from your desk, leave the models. They're also important, but leave them for a second. Go out and do your reality check. Talk with them, identify why it's not working. And so I would like to address some thresholds with you today and show a bit how we are trying to tackle these. And the first threshold that we saw was, yeah, I got a lot of feedback like, okay, but why is it so important? We are social entrepreneurs. Our main goal is to create jobs. Why should we care about circular economy? It's not our goal. That's not a core business. It's now a bit framed extremely, but it will help the presentation. And so the insight was, okay, if we really want to stimulate the circular reflex at our members, we need to come with a bigger story and not just, okay, circular because you have to, but okay, no, it has to be a bigger story. And that's when we saw, okay, Herwin really believes in donut as an umbrella, as the new economy. And every time now, we talk about circular economy with our members, we frame it into the donut economy, the new economy concept of Kate Raworth, which says we have to be within the safe and just space below the planetary boundaries, which is a circular concept, and everyone needs to be in the, it has to be the basics for a good living. And so the social part is the regaining of talents, and the ecological part is the circular economy. And so every time we talk about circular economy to our members, we use the donut as an umbrella. So I think it's very important if you talk about circular economy with your members and you stimulate them is look for an umbrella concept, look for a way for them to frame it in a bigger picture than only circular. And another very important link, but I will not go deep into it because we already saw it in the early presentations, is the huge link with the potential to create valuable jobs for people. And this is a nice quote from Walter Style, who already saw the link between the circular economy, where you will care about material, where you will invest in the repair, where you give attention to stuff and to material. And yeah, who has to give this attention? These are really people. And so there is a link between job creation and circular economy, because in a circular economy, you need a lot of logistic steps. You need someone to collect, to sort out, to repair. And these are really, yeah, potential jobs for circular economy. So every time we talk about circular economy to our members, we also make the link with this big potential. And then an additional link that we already see here also at Herwin is also the link with innovation and new business models. It's also a work in progress, but I'm now reading the book of Jan Jonkers. It's Sustainable Organizing. It's really interesting and very hands-on, and he proposes a template how you can develop a new business model. And he proposes circular economy, circular business models as one of the new business models of the future. And he gives you very interesting practical step-by-steps how you can implement this. And so every time we talk about circular economy, we make the link with, okay, if you want to innovate, you have to invest also in circular economy, because it's a business model of the future. And then a last link, and I think it's actually the most important one, is make the link with financing opportunities. I will give an example. This is our Minister of Social Employment here in Flanders. And in December, she did a big call for social employment. If you want to have more people in your company, you can apply. You can apply with a project, and this project has to be circular. You have additional points if it's a circular project. And so we at Herwin, I already sent my paper. There was not a lot of motivation to read this paper. But then when Minister Krevits communicated about circular projects, we made the link. We immediately made the link. Okay, you see, the new call is about circular economy. We do an inspiration session about circular economy next week. And we will give you inspiration how to come up with a new project, or how to make sure that your project embraces the circular principles. And then we saw that a lot of members were actually present at this virtual inspiration session. And so that's when we got the insight, okay, we really need to create momentum, and we need to use momentum from other parties to communicate and to educate about the circular economy. It cannot be a concept on itself. it really needs to be linked with their reality, and their reality is the social employment. And okay, how can we get new innovative project and financing opportunities for our organization? And so that's a work in progress, and we really try to get every momentum that we have and to couple it with circular economy in order to address the why of the circular economy in their own language, in their terms. And so back to the thresholds, what I always also identified on my visits was a lot of misconception about what is circularity. One of the quotes, we are already circular, we have solar panels. There were a lot of members who were and it's really understandably, because it's such a hyped concept now, who were not sure what is sustainability, what is circularity. And so, yeah, it was a lot of misconception about it. And that's when we get the insights, but okay, there are some pioneers in our sector. There are some who really understand it, who really started their organization because circular is their reason of motivation. But there are others who are some steps behind, and we really need to take them through the whole path of circular economy, which we got already this morning from you. And we need to take them into this path and to teach them what it is circular economy, what are the strategies, why is something circular and why is something not circular. And so we are planning to do our first Circle Summit. So it actually still has to take place. But in October, we do a Circle Summit for all our members. And that's a moment where we want to learn them the circular language. We want to have a pitching session, keynotes, workshops. So you get the concept. It's really a circular path for our members. And the plan is to do this every year. So to really teach them, like, okay, Herwin is also a circular summit, and they can get their circular bed, their circular inspiration at the summit. And what is interesting is that we also do a talent summit. So for some years now, we do every beginning of the year, we do a talent summit where it's about inclusive entrepreneurship, social employment. And now we actively choose, okay, if we want to be social circular entrepreneurs, there should be a circle summit every year for our members too. So that's one thing that we are doing. Another thing is that we started a circular economy coaching track. So actually, I got a partnership with Circle Speed. Circle Speed is also a collective of circular coaches. And they made a trajectory with some hours of coaching where the participants could go through. They have some individual coaching. They have an introduction of circular economy. They have a session about design thinking, go to market. So it's a whole full trajectory, and that's really for the members who say, okay, I have an idea, I have a project. I now want support to really work it out and to make it to give birth to this project. And so that's how we go about, okay, the Circle Summit is really to give inspiration. If you then want to go a step further, you can subscribe for Circle Speed at a training track. And at the top, you can see a nice quote from one of the participants who actually said, like, after the weekend, the inspiration weekend, I can finally speak the language. And for me, that was also a big insight. Like, okay, there's really a language, a circular language. And if you don't have the basics, it's difficult to speak with it. And the Circle Speed trajectory really helped the level below the directors to also speak the circular conceptual language. And so we are planning to also do one time a year a trajectory like this. And then a third threshold was... and
sorry, can you arrive to the end? Because if not, we will be a little bit later.
Yeah, okay, sorry, Patricia.
Thank you, no problem.
Okay, so for threshold 3, I will be very quickly. I will also notice that a lot of social entrepreneurs had some notion of circular innovation. It's not for us, it's for these startups with a lot of marketing and communication. And so we are also working on how to go above this threshold by inspiring themselves with examples from the sector. So we have an inspiration sessions where we have the pioneers from within the sector. So we show them, okay, it's also for you. It's not only for these startups. We have, that's the inspiration sessions where we mapped some best practices from within the sector. We have a vlog, really some videos where we have members speak to the other members about, what is their vision for the future? And we are organizing some safaris where we go to other social entrepreneurs and show, this is how they handled it. And so the partners I will skip because one of the thresholds is also how to find new partners for your projects, and that's where we also are a facilitator and a matchmaker. And I want to just arrive to this checklist. So these are just some lessons learned that I wanted to share with you if you want to go about circular economy in your network. First one is start with why, link it with different action points from members, so job creation, innovation, need for a new economy. Use also momentum created by other parties. Think about the Minister of Social Employment here in Belgium. Look for the right partners. I think about the collaboration with Circle Speed. It opened the door to a lot of other collaborations. It was really interesting to have this in our network. Repeat the message again and again. That's also feedback from our members. Like you just have to repeat it, circular, 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 and then we will listen after a while. And if you're really ambitious, I think the best tip I can give is integrate it in your organization to put it in every event that you do. Give time to someone to work on this, to figure it out what it is, and also work on the circular policy. Okay, that was it, what I wanted to tell. I'm sorry if that was a bit too long, but I hope it was somewhat helpful.
Absolutely interesting, Julie. Yolina, is it correct? Okay. Yeah. And no, absolutely interesting with these final tips that are really useful for all ENSIE members that are here with us. And I will now let the floor open the floor to the second session, and then if there will be any question, this will be done at the end. The second question is concerning always in some way circular economy, responsible production, responsible consumption. Where is the place in these for local authority, for public authorities? And we will have firstly with us Esther Ferrer, that is also our treasurer, our secretary within ENSIE, and is also coordinator at FEICAT, founder member of ENSIE. And Esther will talk in French, so I invite you to use the interpretation if you need. And Esther, je te laisse la parole. Merci beaucoup.
D'accord, merci, merci.
Thank you all. I hope that you can hear me. I will start.
Azzal fogom kezdeni, néhány szóval fogom.
Toutes les présentations qu'on fait avant.
Vorrei darvi il benvenuto.
Pauline, de Charlie,
akik hozzájárultak.
Vraiment intéressant.
Dla mnie było bardzo inspirujące.
À Patricia, à toute l'équipe d'ENSIE, le conseil d'administration, à tous, évidemment.
Board of Directors of ENSIE, happy anniversary, happy birthday to you.
Et j'espère de pouvoir vous embrasser physiquement avant de finir le demi.
Eu espero que eu seja capaz.
Eu queria partilhar, eu fiz o mais rapidamente possível a minha apresentação, eu queria partilhar o ecrã. Conseguem ver? Ótimo. Então eu vou falar dos mercados públicos reservados. Isto é uma oportunidade para apresentar esta empresa. Antes de tudo, fazemos eu daria alguns dados e vamos imaginar a situação da Catalunha, desta região espanhola, e para poder ver como são estes empreendimentos na Catalunha. Aqui.
Ayant travaillé dans les entreprises d'insertion, on voit que ce sont 3597 l'année 2019. Nous n'avons pas encore les chiffres du 2020, mais on voit deux choses. Premièrement, que nous sommes petits, mais que la ligne, c'est bonne, l'évolution, c'est bonne. Hein? Chaque fois, plus de personnes. Et ça, c'est l'évolution totale du revenu de toutes les entreprises d'insertion de la Catalogne, que c'est le 2019 de presque 73 millions d'euros. C'est aussi un chiffre modeste, mais évidemment, l'évolution, si vous voyez, c'est bonne. Hein? C'est bonne. S'il vous plaît, rappelez-vous de ce chiffre, presque 73 millions d'euros, revenu total des entreprises d'insertion de la Catalogne. Et ça, c'est ce que c'est vraiment important. C'est la répartition des revenus des sociétés d'insertion en fonction de l'origine. De ces 73 millions, 46 viennent de la facturation à les entreprises privées ou à des personnes particulières. C'est-à-dire, nous travaillons avec les entreprises et avec les personnes. 14 millions sont les aides publiques, le total d'aides publiques que nous avons à les entreprises d'insertion. Et 11 millions et demi, seulement 11 millions et demi, c'est la facturation que nous faisons à les administrations publiques. De 11 millions et demi, facturation administration publique, à 46 millions, facturation à privé. La différence, c'est abysmal. Pour moi, je pense toujours que selon le jour, je vois le verre à moitié vide ou le verre à moitié plein. Je crois que c'est très bon d'avoir si de clients privés, que c'est bon, mais quand je pense, par exemple, que les administrations publiques nous demandent notre produit ou notre service, c'est vraiment un problème. L'idée, c'est d'avoir presque pareil la facturation à les privés et la facturation à les publics. C'est pas normal que une grande installation d'une équipe de football de la Champions, nous faisons le nettoyage, parce que c'est une organisation privée, et par contre, faire le nettoyage d'une installation publique municipale, c'est très compliqué. Il y a un problème comme ça. Alors, les marchés publics réservés sont vraiment une opportunité parce que cette ligne de facturation publique soit chaque fois plus pareille à la facturation privée. Les marchés publics doivent être utiles non seulement pour obtenir un bon prix et un bon service pour l'administration, mais aussi une ressource pour favoriser la cohésion et l'intégration sociale des personnes les plus défavorisées. En quoi consistent les marchés publics? Il s'agit d'un appel d'offres public dans lequel seul se peut présenter les entreprises d'insertion et où on peut choisir un, l'autre ou les deux centres spéciaux de travaux sans but lucratif. À l'Espagne, c'est différent que des autres pays, mais nous avons deux modèles, que c'est les entreprises d'insertion, que nous travaillons surtout l'exclusion sociale, et le centre spécial de travaux qui travaille surtout les handicaps, de personnes avec handicap physique, psychique ou sensoriel. Quel est le cadre légal que nous avons? C'est, vous voyez, à la droite, la directive du Parlement européen de 26 février 2014 sur la contratation publique. Et après, presque 4 ans après, il y a eu la loi espagnole qui fait réalité la possibilité de faire la contratation publique réservée. Je vais très rapide, mais cette diapo, c'est vraiment important parce que c'est un plaisir de la lire. C'est un objectif que pendant beaucoup d'années a été notre revendication, que quand tu demandes beaucoup une chose et tu la vois que c'est déjà une loi, c'est vraiment important, c'est un plaisir. Hein? Dans tout marché public sont intégrés d'une manière transversale et obligatoire des critères sociaux et environnementaux à condition néanmoins qu'ils observent le rapport avec l'objet du contrat, avec la conviction que leur inclusion fournira un meilleur rapport qualité-prix dans la présentation contractuelle, ainsi qu'une plus grande et meilleure efficience dans l'utilisation de fonds publics. Les conditions sociales et environnementales, ce ne sont pas seulement une obligation, sinon que c'est une meilleure efficace dans l'utilisation de fonds publics. Et ça, c'est très important de répéter, de répéter, de répéter. Et c'est très important de revendiquer, de demander à toutes les administrations publiques. J'ai beaucoup de transparence, mais j'ai peu de temps. Je faisais quelques transparences, que c'est quelques fax, questions habituelles qu'on me demande quand nous faisons des formations sur les marchés publics réservés, mais je n'ai pas le temps de l'expliquer, mais seulement vous aurez tous cette présentation, alors on peut le lire avec tranquillité, c'est-à-dire les contrats réservés sont légaux, bien évidemment, oui, totalement protégés par la législation. Peut-on réserver n'importe quel contrat, ou bien sûr que oui, peuvent être appliqués à tout objet contractuel, montant, procédé sur secteur d'activité. Les administrations publiques sont-elles obligées? Oui, sont obligées, mais malheureusement, il n'y a pas une sanction à les administrations publiques qui ne le feront pas. Alors, quand une chose c'est obligé, mais il n'y a pas une sanction, quand on ne fait pas cette obligation, c'est très difficile aussi d'appliquer cette loi. Quel pourcentage de contrats il est recommandé de réserver? Cela dépend entre 1 ou 5% du total de la contratation publique de chaque administration publique, soit petite, soit grande. Le fait de mettre porte la contratation à attendre la libre concurrence? Catégoriquement non. Hein? C'est incroyable, mais persiste encore de savoir si le contrat réservé implique une violation des principes essentiels de la libre concurrence. c'est pas vrai. Et on l'explique. Je veux parler un peu plus tranquillement de bons exemples, des bonnes pratiques, de quelques exemples. Le premier, c'est le même gouvernement régional de Catalogne, c'est la Généralité de Catalogne. Chaque année, il fait à des magasins ou n'importe, il fait la publicité de combien d'argent chaque année il fait pour la contratation publique réservée. C'est pas seulement important la quantité, l'import réservé, sinon que c'est vraiment important faire publicité de ça, faire éducation de ça. Quand une administration publique explique, il fait publicité de la contratation publique qu'elle fait, alors il prend l'exemple pour des autres administrations. Et soit ça, je pense que c'est un bon exemple. Mais possiblement, il y aura des personnes qui disent « Ah bon, mais ça, c'est une chose compliquée, c'est pour les grandes administrations, régionales, nationales, les grands maires, mais un tout petit village… Alors, j'adore cet exemple. Olivella. Olivella, c'est un tout petit village près de Barcelone. Cette photo, ce n'est pas une photo d'une maison, sinon c'est le maire d'Olivella. Hein? C'est l'administration publique la plus importante. Et elle a fait un contrat de service de prévention d'incendie consistant en l'entretien des bornes périphériques et les espaces verts des urbanisations. Quand j'explique ça, il y a quelqu'un qui dit « Ah, c'est parce que peut-être à Olivella, ou très près d'Olivella, il y a quelques entreprises d'insertion que c'est déjà dans le territoire et alors on veut l'aider et lui donner travail. » Population d'Olivella, 3619 habitants. Montant estimé du contrat, presque 16 000 €, d'une population de 3600 habitants. Entreprise d'insertion implantée sur la commune ou sur la région, 0. Il n'y en a pas. Préservation exclusive pour les entreprises d'insertion. Et qu'est-ce qu'il a passé? On fait le contrat et immédiatement, il y a une entreprise, non, plusieurs entreprises d'insertion qui sont intéressées. Et qu'actuellement, déjà, on travaille dans Olivella. Et cette petite population, c'est un exemple d'une bonne pratique qu'on peut faire l'inclusion sociale et on peut faire un projet spécifique d'insertion socio-professionnelle dans cette mairie. Je crois que c'est un exemple vraiment intéressant. FECAT, c'est la Fédération d'entreprises d'insertion de la Catalogne et nous faisons un rôle dans la promotion de marchés publics. Pendant beaucoup d'années, et de 2020 et l'année antérieure, nous avons fait surtout formation. J'ai fait des conférences.
Organizziamo
több polgármesternek is tartottunk előadásokat.
De Barcelone, de Lleida, de l'Andalousie, de Tarragona,
zbliżyć mieszkańcom i też mniejszym organizacjom.
Também tiramos fotos nestes treinamentos.
Organizziamo anche delle
c'est très compliqué.
Esteve, est-ce que je peux te demander d'arriver à la fin?
Oui, 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 2 minutes
vi
seulement.
incoraggio a farlo.
1 minute.
Qu'est-ce que nous avons fait alors? C'est passer.
What did we do? We acted. We decided to act.
Formation. Alors, cette action que nous avons fait, c'est une site web. Excuse-moi, une autre fois. Que vous avez à la présentation, que c'est une carte de la Catalogne où vous pouvez voir, excuse-moi, chaque maire de la Catalogne qui fait la contratation publique réservée. Alors, on fait la dénonciation de celles qui ne font pas la loi et celles qui vraiment la font, et toutes, si on clique, les bons exemples, parce que les autres administrations font l'exemple de ces administrations qui le font bien. Alors, avec cette dénonce habituelle, c'est comment on fait vraiment la promotion des contrats réservés. Je n'ai pas plus de temps. Merci beaucoup et à votre disposition.
Merci beaucoup, Esteve. Merci beaucoup, Esteve. Je vais terminer en français. C'est toujours très intéressant et c'est toujours très intéressant ce qui fait l'Espagne, ce qui a fait la Catalogne dans ce cas, par rapport aux réservations de marché et à comment inclure les entreprises d'insertion dans les marchés publics. Donc, merci beaucoup. And now I will continue in English, and I'm very pleased to let the floor to Jana Zurkova. Jana is a Network Development and Innovation Manager at Reuse. Reuse is the Reuse and Recycling Social Enterprise Network, partner of ENSIE since now many years. And so now Jana will also explain us a little bit how they work with the local authority in the framework of their daily work. Thank you very much, Jana. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Patricia. Good morning still, everyone. I will also share my screen, and I will start with a very quick happy birthday to ENSIE. I think in this case, also reacting to Jolien, it's the donut seems to be more appropriate than a cake. Thanks a lot for the invite. My name is Jana and I represent Reuse. And I will talk a bit about the local aspect of creating inclusive circular economy with the focus on reuse and repair activities. So from the perspective of our network. Just very briefly, Reuse is an international network representing social enterprises active in reuse, repair and recycling. You've already heard one of our members today, Jolien from Herwin. So Herwin is also part of our network. And what our members do is that they collect unwanted items, including textiles, furniture, sports equipment, electricals, anything what you can imagine from the household, and they clean them, repair, upcycle, etc. and they sell them secondhand. And through these activities, they create jobs and trainings for people who are disadvantaged on the traditional labor market. Here you can see the list of our members. We have currently 30 member organizations present in 28 countries, mainly in Europe, but we have one member in New York City, which is also a very interesting organization. And regarding the impact of our members' work, they annually divert around 1 million tons of materials from landfill through their activities in reuse, repair and recycling. And through these activities, they engage over 100,000 individuals through employment, training, and volunteering. And here briefly, you can see the breakdown of the major product and waste streams they work with and the tonnages collected and reused, just to give you an idea. Reuse has a secretariat based in Brussels, just as ENSIE, and we work very much in the same way. We try to connect the experience from our members from each individual reuse center and the people working on the ground, connect them with the European policy, which is created in environmental policy, but also social policy. And as is the theme of today, and it was mentioned many times, but I also want to highlight that we are also celebrating 20 years this year, actually. And since the very beginning, we have been connecting the social and environmental objectives, which nowadays the discussion is much more present, but we still see that it's the social aspect of the circular economy is often an afterthought, and there is still much more to do. And we have a great opportunity, I think, now with the Circular Economy Action Plan in Europe, but also with the Social Economy Action Plan to really make sure that they go hand in hand and everybody's on board. And today I will talk about something more local. So the focus of this session is on public procurement. And public procurement is one of the examples of how public authorities can support inclusive circular economy locally, for instance, through reuse and repair. I don't think the audience today is purely public authority, but I will mainly speak from that perspective, because what I think wasn't highlighted as many times today is that public authorities and social enterprises are really very natural partners. They can help each other a lot to achieve the objectives which they have. And we also support very much this link, and it's crucial for our members. And I will mention the public procurement today, but you will see...
Je vais parler
do público hoje, mas também
Dotkniemy też bardzo ważny aspekt.
Nelle loro mani proprie.
And it's a guidance for municipalities, which includes several points, including examples. And I very much invite you to have a look at it afterwards to get the full picture. So speaking about public procurement, I think we are all aware that the purchasing power of public authorities in Europe is absolutely massive, which also means that they play a really big role as a role model, to create demand for the right services and products, and to really walk the talk of what we are talking about today and implement it. And public procurement, however we call it, green, circular, social, sustainable, strategic, it is of great importance, and it has a really big potential to scale up and support social enterprises locally. When we speak about circular, social, sustainable procurement, I want to mention 3 points. So it is about using social criteria in public tenders, or even reserved contracts, as we heard from Estef just before me, but also environmental criteria. And I want to also show you a few examples of the services which are relevant, for instance, where these criteria could be employed to create better impact. So also from the experience of our network, public authorities can use social criteria and environmental criteria for waste collection services, including bulky waste, textile collection, bio-waste. It was also mentioned by Andrea earlier that these are becoming mandatory, some of them. Secondly, it can be for management of waste collection points, management of reuse spaces or corners in the waste management points, It can be also included in tenders for public events, for instance, using reusable cutlery or services provided by social enterprise. It can be used in the construction and demolition sector, which is also something what our members, some of them are working in. So for renovations, construction, demolition, etc. And lastly, maintenance of public spaces. I think that's quite a well-known activity, like public maintenance of public greenery, which is quite often done by some social organizations. And here I want to mention one example from Italy. The municipality of Vicenza, for instance, is using the opportunity to, on the one hand, open contracts to enterprises who are either purely social, their purpose is purely social, or they have at least 30% of workers employed from disadvantaged groups. But they also have contracts which are really reserved for social cooperatives. And this is something what our members are, for instance, benefiting from. I think we are also all aware that the majority of the procurement procedures in Europe still only consider the lowest price as the criteria. And I want to challenge a bit the notion of the lowest price, because it is something what can be short-term the lowest, but is it really the lowest price if we consider the environmental and the social challenges we are facing? So I want to present a few figures to just as to stimulate some thoughts. Yes, we have recently published research from our network about how many jobs are created in reuse by social enterprises. And here you can see the results. It's between 40 and 100 jobs per 1,000 tons. And this is way more than other waste treatment options like landfill or incineration. So it is clear that reuse and repair as very labor-intensive activities, they have huge potential in job creation for a very wide variety of people with different skills and education level. What we also know from research from Herwin, who you heard today, is that employing one person who is distant from the labor market actually long-term brings benefits to the government, but also to the society and the individual. And they've done a really good research to put a price on it, which is quite astonishing, I find. So almost 15,000 euro can be saved per year for one person employed in a social enterprise. And lastly, this is an example of the savings, which is from the UK, from Scotland. Our member created the so-called Reuse Consortium, which is a group of social enterprises working in reuse of furniture mainly. And this consortium is focused on working with public authorities who have this welfare fund to deliver furniture to people in need. So instead of buying new furniture, the local authority can buy used furniture, quality secondhand furniture from the social enterprise. And by doing that, they save a lot of money and also a lot of resources, obviously. And for example, one of the local councils saved 100,000 pounds per year. And thanks to that, they could help 200 more households. And lastly, I want to mention some interesting publications to help you orientate yourself in this landscape. We've already mentioned the Buying Social Guides. There was a new edition just this week, which is a guidance on how to use, how to buy social, but there was also an older publication with good practices. And there's also a public procurement for circular economy guide by the European Commission. And I've mentioned some examples in my presentation, which you can find many more in our publication on social public procurement, which I linked there. And again, I just want to remind that I could only speak about public procurement, but there are other points in this publication, such as how to organize quality collection for reuse, how to establish targets, or how to create reuse culture in the society. So I invite you to read it afterwards. Another thing I want to mention is that as a Reuse, we also try to work with public authorities directly, and we have in the past year organized 2 study tours, online study tours for municipalities, to give them very practical guidance on how to support reuse with the social enterprise model in mind. It included an online site visit to our member and a lot of interactive exercises. I don't know if we will, in what form we will do this again, but we have done 2 tours and it's been fun and hopefully created some impact. And lastly, I just want to invite you to join our LinkedIn group, where you're free to share some materials about reuse if you want and get to know other colleagues. And also invite you to follow our social media and website, because we have a lot of anniversary events coming up this year as well. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you very much. As always, really very interesting, and you know our sector are really linked and more sometimes also the same. And we have also the same birthday, so congrats also to you. And I think we really need to work together in order to also raise awareness on all public authority, but also and this is also one of our key points on the European institution in general, because they can be the good example for everyone. So I think that on this we can all continue to work together, and we will be in touch absolutely for this. And now I'm sorry, I mean, because we are a little bit late, so I'm sorry to all of you. I don't know if you have any question. I suggest you to put them in the chat, and I will now let the floor to, I'm reading if there are already some questions. If not, I will let the floor to our president, ENSIE president, that will help us to finish this session with some key conclusion. And I will then launch a short evaluation for this meeting. So don't let us before doing the evaluation but now first the floor to our president, Corinne.
Thank you very much, Patricia, and thank you very much for all the speakers, because I had really a really nice time having all this information about social and circular economy. It was really well done. Thank you very much. Well, actually, what I learned, maybe this is not the total conclusion, but that there are, of course, different stakeholders and different targets. And first of all, Andrea took us in the development of the circular economy, which was a beautiful presentation, and she told us why and how, and the fact that the green transition needs human energy and talents, and that's why we have to combine. So this is a really great opportunity, I think, already for years, but now really important. And then afterwards, Pauline, well, of course, ENSIE in his birthday this year launch a campaign. So this is really beautiful momentum as well. And the social economy action plan should reinforce indeed the link between green and social policies. So this is a really important conclusion, I think, what has to be made. So reuse and ENSIE will combine, I think, this really important message to the Commission. Afterwards, we talked to Chris, and Chris, of course, we all know this campaign. It lasted already from 2012, he told us. So to consumers and to other stakeholders, but the awareness is also so very, very important. And I think we can learn a lot about Social Enterprise UK and the campaign of buying social. And I already told on the chat that I really love the videos of Herwin and Jolien. I follow you and your beautiful, well, it's also a campaign, but you took us how important it is to raise awareness with all the members of Herwin, and how to combine the circular economy with the social economy. And yeah, I find it really interesting, Jolien. Thank you very much. And then Esther, of course, we all know that Catalonia has a really good example, and I always call it a blacklist, or is it not a blacklist? Is it a good list? Because there are a lot of how to say, authorities who has the reserved contracts, but there are also authorities who don't have reserved contracts yet. And you can show this on this website, which is really excellent, I think, very important. And then Jana, reuse, yeah, well, very, very good how you combine those in the DNA of reuse. It's combined already, so very useful how you combine this, and how you lobby for the circular and social economy, and to tell us that everybody should know that the social economy and the circular economy are partners from the authorities. We are partners in the goals and the targets that we both have. So yeah, thank you very much, Jana. I think this was a wonderful webinar. Thank you very much.